Ja, muss mal aufpassen. Das heißt, ich ja, alles mit Wald hier machen, aber ich muss halt
ready to go.
You and me, a dream team.
Very good choice, my friend. Let's go for the title defense.
Welcome now, especially to all the British fans, because I'm here with two of the local heroes. It's Jamie Green and Gary Paffett. Guys, it's good to see you, because you were former teammates, so actually now you're driving with Audi. Unfortunately, you were a little bit the unlucky guy yesterday in the qualifying. You're starting from P17.
Yeah, it's on this track, starting at the back's going to be difficult, but I'll try and enjoy the race and enjoy having a race in my home country, and we'll see what happens. You never know, we could get a result, but I'm not too stressed.
Not too stressed, but for sure you're making a big show for the British fans. Gary, unfortunately it didn't went out so well for you too. A bad day.
Yes, also a bad day. I mean, to be honest, we just didn't have very good pace in the car. All the Mercedes cars were pretty close to the back. I mean, I was best Mercedes in P12, so I got promoted to P11, which is nice to be on the inside, but it's going to be a long day. You know, 98 laps around here. The car is not going to be transformed, so we're still not going to be maybe as competitive as the guys at the front. But you know, I'm looking to score points today, and that's what we need to try and get out of it. Just make the most of what we got.
All the best for you both, guys, and back to Andrew and Dave. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Andrew Marriott and David Allison here in the commentary box. We're going to check out this circuit. 2 words for this intense and tricky. The Hanker animation. David Addison rode round here with Jamie Green on Friday on a scooter and heard about all the very difficult bits. David, take us through it.
Well, the first element, of course, is from the standing start. You've got to make sure you get off the line cleanly. There's this adverse camber from pole position. Mike Rockefeller for Audi will start on pole, but then there's the drag up towards Paddock Hill Bend, down towards second gear from fifth. On a flying lap, the drivers don't use sixth, or certainly very rarely will they do around here. You have to be patient coming out the paddock before you get back on the power, then hard on the brakes for the hairpin at Druids, and again, patient, 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 power on out of the corner. Graham Hill Bend, tight left-hander, you can run wide and use the curb, but don't put all four wheels off repeatedly because a penalty may come. Surtees and McLaren at this speed is just like an S-bend, dropping back down to second gear, looking ahead all the time through clearways, then Clark curve. A lot of G being pulled through the car. That's going to affect using the DRS that we'll come to in a moment. Speed building, quickest part of the circuit, and then over the timing line, the end of a flying lap. And that will take you just over 41 seconds.
And there's going to be 98 of those. 98 laps, but let's join Eve. She recorded this a little earlier.
I'm here in the BMW hospitality together with Augusto Farfu, so-called Gustel. Great to have you with me. So let's talk about the qualifying yesterday. You did an amazing job. You finished second place, best BMW. So actually it's a good standing, a good starting point for the race today.
Yeah, yesterday we did a good job. It has been a difficult day. During free practice we had really to improve the car. The car was not in a good balance, so the team did a brilliant job, I have to admit. With the new race format we don't have a lot of time to play with the car, but the team, as I said, move on. We got a good car for qualifying, and starting from P2 is definitely great. I mean, here the race, it's tough. The traffic management, it's not easy, so it's crucial to start up front, and being P2 I think we can expect good things for the race. The race will be long. 98 laps here are definitely a lot, but hopefully with a good start and a smooth race we can get good points.
But I think you must have a lot of tailwind winning the season opener and being the championship leader here in Brands Hatch.
Well, yeah, well, it's always good to win races and, as you said, being the championship leader, but in DTM being championship leader after one race, it doesn't mean a lot. The season's very long. We have still, well, let's say with Brands 9 race to go. So we have to focus. I want to collect as many points as possible to all the races, and then the end of the year we will see. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to start with the right rhythm, winning the race. But today here in Brands is a different story. We have to think and get as many points as possible.
So 3 BMW in the top 5. So actually everything can happen. Good luck for today for the race. All the best. Thanks.
Here is the starting grid, and no, Martin Tomczyk is not on a pole. Yes, he set the pole time. The car was underweight, so it's Rockenfeller and Farfus on row 1, and Joey Hand and Bruno Spengler in those two BMWs, row 2. Then it's a rejuvenated, I think, Timo Scheider with the rookie Marco Whitman, again for BMW. Andy Priaulx lines up 7th, the third of the British drivers in this race, and Edo Mortara. Behind them, Miguel Molina from Spain and Timo Glock. First ever time racing at Brands Hatch, the former Marussia F1 driver. Gary Paffett, we just heard from him, alongside Matthias Ekstrom. Behind Ekstrom is WICKENS and Werner, who at Hockenheim 2 weeks ago came to second place from the back row of the grid. Adrian Tambe in the Ironman 3 car, and Christian Vittoris. Then Jamie Green and Felipe Albuquerque start 17th and 18th place. Next row of the grid, Roberto Merri in the old colours of Gary Paffett. And then here is the back row of the grid. Danny Juncadella and Tomczyk put to the back. Let's go down to Eve in the pits.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Mike Rockenfeller, the pole setter. Yesterday in the qualifying, you barely missed the pole. Then Tomczyk was set back, and you gained in the evening the pole position. You're second here in Brands Hatch and overall in DTM. So what's the plan for today for the race?
I mean, the plan is the same like when I was on P2, to have a good start. Now I'm a little bit more ahead, but it goes uphill, so I try to defend till the first corner, and then I try to do my race, and I hope we have the pace to win it.
It's a good view from here, right in the front, starting from option tires?
Yes, we are starting on option tires, and like I said, if I win the start, I hope I have the pace to pull away, The others behind me then have DRS, so we will see what happens.
All the best for you. Back to you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. And yes, you mentioned Rocky. It's his second pole. He was on the pole in 2011. Gary Paffett was on the pole here a year ago and led throughout. Option tyres, we'll bring you that. We've got a revised graphic, be easier to show you who is on the options and who is on the primes. But the first 3 rows of the grid all are on the options. And the 2 front runners here on the front row of the grid, Mike Rockenfeller and Augusto Farfus, are rushing out of here and going to race at the Nürburgring 24, David, because for once the race starts on a Sunday and goes through to a bank holiday Monday over there in Germany. So that's a big weekend, and a big weekend for Phoenix Racing, Mike Rockenfeller's team, because they are running cars in both those events, this event and the Nürburgring 24. So everyone getting ready. There is Edo Motara, the man with the marketing degree. He was working on that in the middle of last season. Took his finals just after the win he had in Spielberg. Andy Priaulx, always popular here in the Crown Plaza BMW, the World Touring Car Champion. Different sort of BMW though, rear-wheel drive here, and 400 odd horsepower compared with World Touring Car, David?
And it took him a while, really, to get used to this, but I think the confidence that he's gained by a good qualifying yesterday is going to stand him in good stead. And, of course, he's done very few laps around here in a DTM car, because last season he was knocked out of the race very early on after coming together with David Coulthard, although this man, Marco Wittmann, has been one of the revelations of the weekend. He was quickest in free practice, he looked very good in qualifying, and he will start from 6th on the grid.
Yeah, Wittmann's a hard charger, was their reserve driver last year, and prior to that, one of the front runners in the Formula 3 Championship, so he knows the track. Timo Scheider, who, by his own admission, had a terrible season last year, but seems to be rejuvenated, as I said, as we went through the grid. Let's see what Timo can do, and you do notice that Mercedes are in quite a bit of trouble. Let's find out what happens. Race about to start. So we look down on the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. The starting grid, Rockenfeller and Farfus, Hand and Spengler, and Scheider and Wittmann, Priaulx, Montara, Molina, Glock, Gary Paffett there. You see who are starting on the softer option Hankooks. That's a new situation for this year, as is the DRS. The whole wing actually changes position, you'll see it, I'm sure. Then a few other people at the back trying the option. Martin Tomczyk, how can he come through the field here? Obviously desperately disappointed, hasn't had a victory since joining the BMW team. As we go down to Eve again, I think she's with Augusto Farfus. Oh, with Dieter Gass she is.
Here I am with Dieter Gass, and great to have you. Actually, we are standing here right in front of the pole setter Mike Rockenfeller. The second pole for Audi. What about the race pace today? Because in Hockenheim we missed it a little bit. What's the plan?
Well, I don't think we have missed the race pace in Hockenheim. We had a bit of a strategic problem, made the wrong call with the safety car, which basically jeopardized the race. But I think if you look at the race performance that Timo showed already in Hockenheim, that was quite promising. I hope Mike gets a good getaway. If he leads into the first corner, if we have no safety car and surprises, I'm quite hopeful we can have a good race.
All the best for you. Back to you guys.
Yeah, so Dieter Gass, head of the DTM, formerly in Formula 1. And joined Audi just over a year ago. Joey Hand there, the Californian, his best qualifying in the DTM. Man in the past won the Daytona 24 Hours outright, has had class victories for BMW at Sebring. But here he is in his second year with his best qualifying. Let's see what Joey can do.
He's somebody else gaining in confidence, and this will be a real boost to him to be that close to the front of the grid. And it was so much about BMW and Audi in qualifying yesterday. Augusto Farfus for BMW heads the championship from Dirk Van, who came up from 22nd on the grid to 2nd at Hockenheim. Christian Vitoris, the best place of the Mercedes drivers, ahead of Gary Paffett. Reigning champion Brunei Spengler 5th, and Timo Scheider from pole position at Hockenheim is now 6th. Well, another special visitor to Brands Hatch this weekend is Jenson Button. He's with Eve.
Formula 1 star Jenson Jansen is with me, so you're crossing your fingers for your buddy. Okay, we have to take care. You're crossing your fingers for your buddy, Gary Peffert. What do you think was possible for him today in the race?
Yeah, first of all, it's great to be here. The sun's shining, perfect for a race around Brands Hatch in a DTM car. So it's not easy for Gary. You know, he's outside the top 10, but he's got very big elbows, and he'll fight his way through, I hope.
Great, you did some taxi rides. How was it for you? Last year it was in rainy conditions.
Yeah, it was dry this time, so I could actually push the car, and it was a lot of fun. You know, really, there's so much grip that you wouldn't expect from a DTM car. But yeah, it's a brand new car as well. I was driving from Mercedes, so I had to take it a little bit easy. But it was a lot of fun, especially through paddock.
You raised my hope to see you someday in the DTM.
Maybe one day. The problem is for us, you know, we finish in F1 and our professional career we think is over, and then we go to race in DTM for some fun to enjoy it. But it's so competitive. There are so many good drivers in here that have been here for many years, and also the youngsters coming through. It's a very competitive atmosphere and series, so you've really got to be on it. You've got to be fully focused to race in DTM.
Okay, so welcome to the DTM, and thanks a lot. Enjoy the race. Back to you guys.
Yeah, nice walk and talker there, as we call it in the trade. And he mentioned Gary Peffert having big elbows, but Gary's famous for having huge hands, of course.
No matter what they are, he's going to have to use them to get through some of the traffic.
He certainly is.
Gary, of course, the man that does a lot of work for McLaren in the simulator, hence the good relationship. Martin Tomczyk's BMW, you can see at the back of the grid. You asked the question, Andrew, a little while ago, how's he going to come through the field? Well, some of it is by racecraft, and some of it is going to have to be through some very clever pit strategy. The whole grid you've seen now, and Andrew's gone through it with you, how many star names there are further down the field than you'd expect. Jamie Green is another of them. Gary Peffert, Matthias Ekström add to that list. So there's a lot of guys further back trying to work their way through. There are people that are rookies or less experienced up near the front, and perhaps they are going to end up having a part to play in the outcome of this race. Plus the pit stops, plus the DRS, plus the option tyre. This is going to be a fascinating 70 minutes, which is about to get underway.
And David, just talking about the option tyre with the yellow rings around them, they have never run these at this track.
Correct.
This will be the first time in the race I actually run them. You've been talking to Hankook, and they think they're going to last a long time.
They're going to last for 60 laps, they said, but that information was given to me about 45 minutes ago, and now the temperature is going up. Now, yesterday, everybody was expecting rain to come on race day. Would it make a wet DTM race? It's gone the opposite way. Yep. Now it's warmer and sunnier and more pleasant a weather condition than we've had all weekend. That may affect what Hankook is thinking. However, we're about to find out, but if you can run those for 60 laps, and you can go back onto them as well if you so desire, if they've got enough life left in them, one set, but you can run them twice. Again, it really is a step into the unknown. It's 98 laps, but a huge amount is going to happen in this, that's for sure.
Yeah, the pit window is different this year. It will open after probably 4 laps. And just at the very end of the race, you can't make a pit stop to change tyres either. Again, just confirming that starting grid. We have gone through it, the first 9, all on the options. Then Timo Glock in 10th. Good to see his old team boss from Marussia, John Booth, here supporting him. Lots of big names around. I see Ralf Schumacher no longer in the DTM, but he's here coaching the juniors. Susie Wolff, who has dropped out of the championship, she is here also, of course, with her husband Toto Wolff, who is now the boss of the Mercedes-Benz racing operations. So plenty of big names out watching as well as racing. Sam Bird I saw in the Mercedes Hospitality, recent GP2 winner. So there's no question of doubt that BMW have done an outstanding job there in their 2nd year of the DTM, but we have Rocky on the pole position for the 2nd time in 3 years, and just 1 victory behind him. So Jensen just sitting there, he'll be watching the television.
Expect that as the Audi, rather, on pole position to be a very wide car indeed. Mike Rockefeller knows how important it is to keep the traffic at bay on that first lap.
Look at the track temperature now, right up to 34. We haven't seen that in the 3 days, have we? Anywhere near that. Suddenly the sun's come out here on this late spring day of Brands Hatch here in Kent. And the engine notes are rising, the lights will go out and they'll fire them off towards Paddock Bend. And I don't think Rocky made quite such a good start as Farfus, but maybe good enough to get into paddock first, and that's exactly what he does. And Rockefeller is who leads here on the opening lap at Brands Hatch.
Rockefeller it is, then up front, heading towards Druids. Farfus challenging on the outside. Wittmann has made a good start. Prio, I think, has been mugged a little bit and lost places. And Martin Tomczyk has gained one spot, but only one already, as the top two breaks away down towards Graham Hill Bend. Everybody safely through Druids for the first time. And Martin Tomczyk is on the move. He's gained another spot as one car runs really wide, kicking up the dirt. Coming out of Graham Hill Bend, it was Roberto Mehi that's going to put him back in the pack.
Here they are, that corner they call the S-bend. And round here onto the straight. DRS will not be activated yet. We'll tell you when they're allowed to use it. Farfus there in second place. But the other one that went back was Hand.
Indeed so. DRS is activated after the first 3 laps of the race. Rockefeller leading by 0.4 of a second at the end of that one. This is Matthias Ekström, who's got work to do. He's in 13th place. That's Timo Glock ahead of him, going through Druids. Down towards Graham Hill Bend as Rockefeller tries to escape, and he's lapping a little bit quicker within the first sector, so he's breaking away from Farfus. It's Spengler third. Wittmann has made a good start. He runs fourth. Scheider is fifth. Joey Hand is then in sixth spot as the cars turn their way through clearways for the second time. You're on board with Farfus. That's the leader, Mike Rockefeller ahead.
Mike Rockefeller in the lead in the green and yellow Audi. Man with over 60 of these DTM races to his name, but he's only won the one at Zandvoort. And Mike Rockefeller, also a Le Mans winner, of course, driving for the, I don't know where you call it, the second string Satellite Phoenix team, but in front of all the apt sport run Audis.
Martin Tomczyk, 15 from 22nd. He has had a brilliant first couple of laps.
Wow, that's a blinder.
Who says you can't overtake around here? No one's told Tomczyk. So the progress he's making is very good indeed. Jamie Green, in contrast, is struggling. He's in 19th place. Rockefeller through Clark Curve. He leads the way. Farfus trying to go with him, but the gap was half a second last time around.
There you see that wing. We'll get a shot a little bit later into the race, and you'll see how that alters by 15 degrees. Won't make as much difference here as it did at Hockenheim, though. As we ride along with Eki, diving down through Paddock Hill Bend, up the Halewood Hill, into Druids.
Ahead of him is Glock, and ahead of Glock is Gary Paffett. Paffett is running in 11th place, out of the points. Points for the top 10, remember. Double champion Matthias Ekström drops down towards Graham Hill Bend, and the car's not running too wide ahead of him. 2 wheels off the road. 4, and it may, in the fullness of time, be a penalty if you are a repeat offender. But Rockefeller leading the way. Here they come up towards the end of lap number 4. He's got Farfus trying to go with him, and Bruno Spengler, who's not a great fan of this circuit, is next in the queue, and I think Paffett has pitted.
Paffett's pitted, yeah. There is Paffett, and he will presumably go on to the options here, David. We couldn't see, but as he goes out. So a completely different strategy. What it does do, David, is puts him in clean air.
Also, Ekström has come in, and so has Tombe. So you've got 3 pitters earlier on, all from the primes, presumably, as Andrew says, onto the options, as they seem to be working the better at the moment. There's Ekström back into the race behind Paffett, Tombe in the background. So straight away, the order becomes shuffled. Mike Rockefeller leads by 0.6 of a second. This is Ekström.
Now, it's going to be very interesting to look at Paffett's times out in fresh air. With no cars in front of him to disturb the air, we should see some quick laps from Paffett. Completely different strategy then from Gary. The Taurus into the pits. He's another one that started on the primes.
The man that's third in the championship, don't forget. Started 16th on the grid.
We've got virtually everybody now running on the option tyre. Maybe Fairline and Green are the only 2 that aren't.
Dirk Werner has just been in also to change.
You can see in updating there on the screen who is on the options.
Timo Glock is a prime, and
he's
struggling, look, because he's having to go defensive coming out of Clark Curve. He's got Roberto Mehi right up behind him, and he's going to stay out for another lap as Rockefeller is being caught by Farfus. The gap's half a second, and look at this, Glock now, he's having to really defend because Roberto Mehi is right with him.
Yeah.
Through paddock they go, not quite nose to tail, and look who's behind them. Martin Tomczyk, 13th. This is a really impressive run.
That is a fabulous run by Tomczyk, but now is he going to get holed up behind this pair and not be able to make any further progress? They go side by side. Oh, and off goes Timo Glock.
Another place gained by Tomczyk, and Glock, I'm afraid, welcome to the DTM. That was all a bit robust, and he comes out worse, doesn't he? They don't do that in Formula 1, Timo, but that may well now be the catalyst for the pit stop, Andrew, to get him onto the correct tyres.
Did he get a bit of a nudge, David?
It's hard to
No,
tell.
I don't think
he
so.
did.
Don't think he did.
But he couldn't turn in because Mehi was right up alongside him. Glock does not pit. Glock carries on. BMW will be a bit disgruntled about that. Now, traffic is already becoming a factor. The race leader, Mike Rockenfeller, is starting to close a little bit on the first of the back markers, which is Pascal Wehrlein, promoted to the DTM from Formula 3 for the season after Ralf Schumacher's retirement. And Rockenfeller to Farfus is 0.7 of a second.
And Rocky just put in a lap of 42.4. In fact, Farfus just about the same. A bit quicker than Spengler or Whitman. So one Audi leads the 3 BMWs.
There's a battle developing for 14th place between, at the moment, Glock and Green, both of whom are staying out there on the prime tyre. They've not gone to the option yet. Wehrlein still being closed upon by the race leader. Rocky ahead of Augusto Farfus. Spengler is third. David
Paffett has just done a 42.2, so and now followed it up with a 42.4.
The same as the leader's pace.
Yeah, same as the leader's pace.
Gary Paffett runs in 17th spot, so there's a lot of work yet to be done, and he's not taking chunks out of people's lap time. If he is going quicker, it's only by a tenth or so. The Mercedes, we know, struggles around here. Gary said that before the race started. It is going to be a strategic race, I think, for Gary, rather than on pure speed.
But he's got one of his pit stops out of the way. Ride with Augusto Farfus, the Brazilian driver. Long-time runner in the World Touring Car Championship, his teammate to Andy Priaulx. Priaulx currently in 9th place. Jamie Green in 15th. Paffett in 17th. That's the 3 Brits here. Just look at that. It's not a steering wheel, David. It's a control system.
Exactly right. Matthias Ekstrom's view, meantime, out of the front of the car. And after his early stop, Ekstrom is still there in 18th place, but he's 2.5 seconds back from Gary Paffett. They weren't 2.5 seconds apart when they came out of the pit lane, so Ekstrom is struggling to match the pace of the Mercedes at the moment. That is Jamie Green, who's got himself up past Timo Glock now, so that's a reversal. It's just happened for 14th place. And right with them is Daniel Juncadellà in the Stern Mercedes, coming down towards Graham Hill Bend.
Yeah, Glock's got to get back into his rhythm. He's running with this new M-Tech team that was created as the 4th BMW outfit to run these cars. They run them in pairs with 4 different teams. Schnitzer, of course, the most famous of those. And here is the move which lost Glock that position. As we said, Glock new to Brands Hatch.
Never raced here before. Jamie Green through on the inside. And now Timo Glock is under pressure from Juncadellà because the Mercedes is closing on the BMW. Again, this is prime ahead of option.
Danny Juncadellà from Spain, the reigning Formula 3 champion.
He was one of the heroes of Formula 3 here a year ago because he proved he can overtake in a Formula 3 car around here. Now he's got to prove that in a DTM Mercedes as well. He's got the better tyres, seemingly at the moment. Options are the tyres to have. He's on them. Glock is not. And you can see how the BMW is struggling. I'm surprised he stayed out for as long as he has. Up front, Farfus leading at the moment because Mike Rockenfeller has fallen back into 3rd place. Now, we've not seen how.
No, his last lap was 44.9. He dropped a couple of seconds. We didn't see it, David.
So Farfus, Spengler, Rockenfeller is now the top 3. We'll piece it together in a moment, but we've got a new race top 2, and it's a BMW 1-2, as you see. Martin Tomczyk up to 12th place now, and he's still hustling on behind Roberto Mehi.
Just like to see Rockenfeller's car. Just wonder if there's possibly just ran wide somewhere out of the sight of our cameras. Pit boards go out. We blast on this Brands Hatch straight in front of the grandstand. A lot of corporate guests here today.
There's Andy Priaulx. Jamie Green has pitted, incidentally. Priaulx is 9th, but Jamie Green on the prime tyre, the harder tyre, is now into the pit lane. There he is, back into the race. And a pit stop will take you 26 seconds, in, out, and the tyre change. 3.2 seconds he was stationary for. Pit lane speed limit lower here, 60 kilometres an hour, so the stop is a bit longer.
David, I just wondered if something was wrong. We're not seeing the front, but there is Rocky. His last lap was 42.7.
And the timing screen has put him back into the race lead.
It has.
So all is well. It was a glitch in the system. So the Audi leads. But Augusto Farfus, let's see, he's now got to get through traffic. He is 2 seconds back. So apologies, but the timing screen was telling us a fib for a lap or two.
And we weren't seeing him on the screen. So,
no, indeed. So Rockenfeller is still in the lead of the race, and by an increased margin.
Yeah, that margin is 2.1 seconds at the moment.
Comes up towards the timing line. Jamie Green behind him, a lap down, of course, after making that first stop, but it'll all cycle through. You've got to make these 2 mandatory pit stops. Rockenfeller now completes 15 laps. He's 1.9 seconds up on Augusto Farfus. The gap's being affected now, Andrew, of course, by the back markers.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm fascinated to see what the strategies will be, how long they're going to go on these option tyres. They have no real data to work on. They just have to rely on the driver and his feel, and whether he feels, well, obviously it shows on the stopwatch if the tyres are starting to drop off.
You're riding with Ekstrom, who still pounds on in 17th place, chasing after Gary Paffett, and he's still 2.5 seconds behind him. We've had confirmation that Mike Rockenfeller's transponder has failed. That's why the timing screen had a small glitch. He is still in the lead of the race, but the transponder has gone down. Whether that's connected to an overall electrical or battery problem,
well,
only time will tell.
Yeah,
something to keep an eye on that,
absolutely.
But that's why we weren't getting him on the screen. He's still going strongly now, though.
Good call. Now we need to watch for this DRS, David, down the main straight as well. See if we can see that wing. The whole wing tilts back.
They've got to be careful with the DRS on the pit straight, because if you go too soon on it, coming through Clark Curve, you're still pulling a lot of G. At 2.5 G or more, the DRS switches off. So if you go too soon, it may cut off. You can only really use it once you've crossed the white line, the safety car line. Then you can open it. Unlike
Formula One, you only need to be 2 seconds behind the guy you're chasing.
There's Farfus in second spot, 1.8 seconds back, but of course he's got to get past Jamie Green's Audi before he can go after Mike Rockenfeller's race-leading Audi.
Now, you'll see those lights on the side. You are used to seeing those on to show how many pit stops they've made. They've changed all that for this race meeting, and if you've got 2 red lights on the side of the car lit up, that means they are on the option.
As everybody now is, as there is Rockenfeller, still Jamie Green riding shotgun, protecting him. Of course, Farfus has got to get past him yet. Now, what's happening behind? Spengler is only 0.9 of a second behind Augusto Farfus, heading up towards the timing line. The championship leader, winner at Hockenheim, runs second. Mike Rockenfeller, podium finisher here last year, continuing his good run at Brands Hatch.
Back with Farfus, the winner in Hockenheim. Feeding the power on as he dives down to Graham Hill Bend. Gets a fleeting glance of all the grandstands.
But he's not near enough to Jamie Green for the blue flag to be needed. There's Spengler third. In fourth place is Marco Wittmann, who really has been impressive this weekend.
Tomczyk is in 10th place now, David. And Tomczyk now behind Andy Prio.
The best placed of those that have made a pit stop is Gary Paffett, Gary Paffett, 13th place, and he is still well clear of Matthias Ekstrom, but we know that it's not going to be an easy race for Gary. The Mercedes has really struggled this weekend.
But I think the strategy is working. I think the strategy of making that early pit stop will prove to be a good one. As you see Tomczyk in the traditional BMW colours there. The man we used to see racing a lot in those sort of colours was Steve Soper, one of the most successful British drivers of the DTM. He's here this weekend doing duty in the hospitality suite. We've also seen one of those lovely old M1 BMWs giving passenger rides last evening, David.
Steve Soper due to race a Ford GT40 later in the year at the Silverstone Classic, fingers crossed. Over the line comes Tomczyk now. Ahead of him is Andy Prio. The gap is 0.3 of a second. Tomczyk dives for the inside at paddock. Great move.
Carried so much more speed.
Excellent move. Tomczyk just breezes past him. That puts him up into 9th. Next target is going to be Miguel Molina, the Spanish driver for Audi, just up the road. Tomczyk's driving the race of his life.
He is on fire, this man. Showing all the speed we saw 2 years ago. He won the championship.
Prio didn't make it hugely difficult though, did he?
No, he didn't.
Tomczyk's got a quicker car. That was proved in qualifying yesterday. The leaders go through. and the gap is 1.9 seconds, and still the back marker Jamie Green is between them.
It's been a black and white flag, David, a warning flag for the 24 car of Adrian Tambay leaving the track.
And Jamie Green is now being shown the blue flag. Farfus behind him gets sideways coming out of Graham Hill Bend, but Jamie Green's going to have to let him by, otherwise a drive-through penalty will head his way. That's what's happening in the Formula 3 race. So Jamie Green now has been caught enough by Farfus to make the blue flag be necessary. BMW comes out of Clark Curve and he wants to get past as quick as he possibly can, heading up towards the timing line. Still can't get by. Behind him is Spengler, then Wittmann. Mike Rockefeller upholding Audi honour, isn't he, ahead of all of these BMWs. Timo Scheider is the one that's 5th and Joey Hand is 6th. Farfus gets past Green. Finally, that was at Druids.
There is Farfus. Best of the BMWs in this race. Spengler, the reigning champion, fought that season-long battle with Gary Paffett last year for the championship title. And all his hopes and dreams realised. French-Canadian. Drivers talked a lot about getting into a rhythm round here, David.
And it's not easy to do because it is such a short lap. If you make a mistake somewhere, you're back there in 40 seconds.
Here's
you don't really
replay
have the
of
time
the
to
start.
compute what it is that you did wrong. This is the replay of the start. Mike Rockefeller gets that very good getaway from the one-by-one staggered grid, and he's got the line into paddock.
Farfus made the better start, but because of the stagger, Rocky was able to hang on to the lead. This is how it looked from Ekstrom's car as he came across. And Ekstrom alongside Gary Paffett running up towards Druids. This replay of the start here, where he was behind Andy Prio. And Prio had a bit of a banging match, didn't he, with Wickens. Rockefeller's lead now, 2.1 seconds, as we still show you these replays from the opening lap. Yeah, there was a little kiss. At least Andy Prio hasn't been punted off in the early stages yet. Rockefeller leads from Farfus and Spengler. Then it's Wittmann in 4th place. Timo Scheider, Hand still in 6th. Mortara Molina. Tomczyk up to a fantastic 9th place. Prio running in 10th from Albuquerque. And Glock, a former Formula 1 driver, now down in 12th place. And the first of the pit stoppers, Gary Paffett, is in 13th and still doing some very good laps. In fact, on most of the laps, he is the quickest man out there.
Andy Prio is now pitted out of the top 10. There he is, the Channel Islander coming down the pit lane. European Touring Car Champion, 3 times a World Touring Car Champion. Glock still out there on his primes. Thought he would have pitted by now, but he hasn't. Prio gets away, 3.2 seconds, which is a good solid stop.
Yep, and Prio has gone on to the regular tyre, if we can call it that, the prime.
It may be, therefore, that when he comes back in, they put him back onto the option. We'll see what happens at the next stop. And also, we need to see where he blends back in as Adrian Tambay challenges up the inside. So that means he's in 18th place going up towards Druids. And there's contact, and Prio gets turned around.
Dear.
You saw Tambay go for the inside line, and it's not worked. Certainly for Prio, it's not, because he's facing the wrong way, and he's got a lap down now.
He can't find a hole to come out. Finally does. Prio going to drop to near the bottom of the field.
Here's Tambay up the inside. Wasn't on that.
No. Wonder if Tambay is going to get a penalty for that.
Possibly so. That was Prio's line, Prio's corner. And Tambay a bit desperate there, I'm afraid to say.
Well, at Hockenheim, Adrian's car caught fire, and he had to bail out.
It wasn't many minutes ago, Mr. Marriott, that you mentioned that Prio hadn't been turfed out of the race this year, and now I'm afraid
he has.
Tambay's done the deed.
Famous curse of the commentator. So Rockefeller, though, David, is just pulling out a little bit here and there, the odd fraction of a second, and now that lead is 2.6.
We'll wait and see what does happen to Tambay. There's Farfus, the man in 2nd place. He's had to get past Jamie Green, so he lost a little bit of time in so doing. Bruno Spengler is still there in 3rd. Wittmann, you can see in the background, in 4th place.
Andy Prio is now shown in 21st place, and basically lost 15 seconds in that incident. That's put him right down to just watching to see On car number 24, Adrian Tambay, under investigation. He'll get a drive-through penalty for that, I'm pretty sure, David.
Yes, not a great surprise, is it, that? This is Paffett on the back of Glock. Now, this is for 11th place. The gap has come down to 0.3 of a second. This is prime versus option as well. And you can see how much more fleet the Mercedes is against the BMW. On board with Paffett now, looking for the inside, going through clearways, but he can't find a way through there. He's still not close enough, but he might be able to use the DRS now, coming over the line. If he opens it now, he might be able to challenge on the run up towards Paddock. He's in the draft, he goes to the outside, but he's got to be brave to go round, and he does do it.
Nice
easily
move
done
from Gary Paffett.
Easily done round the outside. So he's up to 11th spot. Still not in the points yet, though. This, remember, is the highest place of those that have made a pit stop.
Yeah. Gary is 29 seconds behind the leader. And you reckon, David, that a pit stop takes?
26.
26. So that's going to cycle him back right near the front.
But we know that this car does not have the pace of those at the ultimate head of the field. That was proved in qualifying yesterday.
No,
but it's damage limitation for Gary this race.
Gary Paffett is having a much better run than he expected.
Yeah,
and I think possibly he's just got this car working really well on these options. And the temperature coming up has helped him.
I was going to say, the temperature is much different, isn't it, from yesterday, so that has to be factored in as well. You're quite right. Up front, Rocky leads by 2.8 seconds, and we're on lap number 30.
Lap number 30 here of the 98 on the Brands Hatch Indy circuit as the sun shines down on, in particular, Mike Rockenfeller.
Shining on Martin Tomczyk as well, look, because here he is, 9th from 22nd on the grid. Timo Scheider has just pitted, so he gains another place. There is Scheider. He's looking for a way past Miguel Molina anyway, is Martin Tomczyk. Scheider blasts away. That'll drop him down. He needs to stay ahead of Paffett, of course, to be the best of the pit stoppers. He was ahead of him before. Is he going to stay ahead? No, he's not, I don't think, because there's the Mercedes. So Paffett gets ahead of Scheider on the pit stops.
And Scheider will go behind Glock as well.
And behind Ekstrom.
Yep.
So that's significant. Scheider loses significant track position on the pit stops.
There's Tomczyk after another place, though, David.
Yeah, that's the one I was saying. Is Miguel Molina, and this is now 7th and 8th.
The Spaniard who was briefly dropped by Audi in the winter, and then they re-signed him when he thought his career with them was over.
Adrian Tambay, you can see, just serving his drive-through penalty after that contact. He was just rejoining out of the pit lane, having served the drive-through. Can Tomczyk dive up the inside? Not at Druids, he can't, but he thinks about it. He's all fired up, isn't he?
Yeah, that drops Tambay behind Andy Priaulx, so neither of them benefited from that. Priaulx can be rightly aggrieved.
Yeah, I'd go along with that.
When we watched it, David, it was the slightest of taps, but when you're right on the edge like that, always Farfus comes in.
And Wittmann is in behind him. So Augusto Farfus then, out of 2nd place, comes in. He's checking the radiators, haven't got full of any nastiness. Blasts away, we don't get the clock on it. There's Wittmann who stops now. 2.9, good stop.
Wow, that's
excellent.
That's a very good stop by that team.
A slow stop for Wittmann, 5 seconds. Very poor indeed in comparison with Farfus's stop.
Yeah, well, Wittmann is with the new M-Tech team, David, and they're still getting up to speed with those pit stops. They managed to forget to put a wheel nut on Glock's car at Hockenheim, so they've got to do a bit more practice to catch up with the other BMW squads.
Now the pressure is on the Audi pit stop to do it in better than 2.9 seconds, otherwise the gap in real terms, Rockenfeller to Farfus, will close. This is Spengler pitting. He was 2nd, of course, by promotion, but now he pits. And also Tomczyk comes into the pit lane.
Yeah, Han then is promoted to 2nd place at the moment. Here comes Tomczyk.
What a great first stint by Martin Tomczyk, former champion. 3.3 seconds for Spengler, but it's a slower stop for Tomczyk.
It's going off the options. We should get the caption soon. And look at Paffett on the charge. Whoa!
That's against Spengler, who defends.
Yeah, well, they're old sparring partners, these two.
Former teammates, but Spengler stays ahead. Paffett might challenge on the run to Graham Hill Bend, but there's no gap there for him.
Yeah, they might be old teammates, but they're still old sparring partners.
Oh, yes.
Not too much love lost between a pair of them.
Well, Spengler's done the right thing, returning onto the circuit, keeping the Mercedes at bay, but it was close. Look at this.
Watch this.
Oh, contact is made.
And Gary tried the other side.
Couldn't have done much more to challenge the Druids, could he? Tried every which way. Timo Glock has pitted, incidentally.
waved in.
Farfus has stayed ahead of Spengler.
Let's see how this M-Tech team get on here. This is not going to be a record stop now. We need to practice that a bit more.
6 seconds.
And it's not easy, you know, these guys from the other teams have just done it so many times. Ernest Norse, who runs that team, I think has set up that new team, has come from Red Bull. Or, in fact, from Toro Rosso, to be entirely correct. Here's Gary Paffett then. Another think about Spengler.
Well, the gap has widened, so he made that effort while the two cars were together on track after Spengler's pit stop. Of course, the important thing here is that Farfus has stayed ahead of Spengler. We've not yet had a stop, but we do now from Rockenfeller. The leader is in, so now we need to see where he will blend back in relative to Augusto Farfus.
We have to assume that the options, he can feel them going off, David. Otherwise, he would have stayed out probably a bit longer on them. Now, where's he going to come back in?
He's going to keep the lead.
Tom Bay going through, I think.
There's Farfus in the background.
Yeah.
So Rockenfeller maintains the advantage. Now Farfus needs to try to close if he can, while Rockenfeller is on his outlet, but it's still a big enough advantage to make Mike Rockenfeller look pretty comfortable in the lead of this race.
Yeah, while we're cycling through, of course, actually in the lead at the moment is Mortara, by dint of not stopping, and Molina. Rockenfeller in third place at the moment. And what about that battle that's going on with Paffett and Spengler? For 6th and 7th places.
There's Tomczyk in traffic. He's trying to find his way past Roberto Mehi, and he has a look on the inside at Clearways, but the door is closed. Contact!
Contact, yeah. Gave him a helping nudge.
There's a gap now, if there wasn't before.
Well, he still hasn't got by.
Well, yeah, Mehi blocks him, but also he may have thought, I better back out of this, otherwise I might get a penalty for contact. Challenging at paddock. Can't find a way through there either. Up towards Druids, the BMW not near enough to dive up the inside, but he breaks much, much later. Roberto Mehi defends, he goes wide, but that's Tomczyk on the wrong line for Graham Hill Bend. He's on the outside. They rub once again, and now onto the grass goes Tomczyk, and round he goes. Off he goes onto the grass, and that, I'm afraid, has ruined the race for Tomczyk.
Well, I wonder if we get a penalty for that.
He put himself on the outside line.
He did. He did. He put himself in jeopardy there. And one of the things, well, let's just see it here. Oh, no, I think Merry's going to get a penalty for that. Just came over on him, didn't he? He knew he was there.
Well, the net result is that Tomczyk comes off worse. Big spin, that.
Big spin, and that's probably damaged those tyres as well.
Yeah.
Now we see it from another angle.
And he's back into the pit lane to get rid of them.
Yep.
So after all the great work, poor Martin Tomczyk's race drops downhill again.
Apart from 2 years ago when he had that wonderful season and won the championship, that sort of characterises Martin Tomczyk's career in a way.
Yeah.
Seemed to carry, I don't know if you call it bad luck, but carry incidents with him.
And he would have the odd good race and then some anonymous races, but never a consistent season, apart, as you say, from his championship winning in that year-old car, which made everybody sit up and take notice. Rockenfeller ahead of Farfus by 2.5 seconds now.
Mortara staying out there, but Rocky on those fresh tyres, he's on lapping half a second quicker than Mortara or Molina. He's going to close up on them soon if they don't come into the pits. Block in the thick of the action against the Audi Cup car.
Yeah, that's Molina in the Audi Cup car trying to lap Glock, but Glock going quicker now, because don't forget Molina has yet to make his first pit stop, as has Mortara, the race leader. So Glock on the softer tyres now is starting to evince the pace that they have.
Now those Molina's tyres have dropped off, David, I'm sure. There is Glock then. Seems to be enjoying his start to the DTM. There's been a bit of a torrid time with the wheel falling off, as I mentioned, but generally he likes it. I'm sure he'd prefer to be back in Formula One, but no opportunity there, so he's making the best of this.
This is the leader on track. Mortara staying out there. It's a long first stint for him, but he leads the way on track. In real terms, it is still Rockenfeller, Farfus, Spengler, the top three. But Gary Paffett is the fourth of those that have made a pit stop, so he really did benefit from that stop early on in the race. This is Ekstrom, who's currently 8th overall. And Marco Wittmann, after his slow stop, he's 9th behind him. So Wittmann was one of the losers because of that poor first pit stop.
Surely Mortara and Molina will come in soon, as these tyres tend to lose their performance. There's a nice shot of that rear wing, David. Let's see if we can see it become activated. There. Perfect shot of it. Flattens it out, and then watch it go back up. Comes up it pops. And you get to see the 4 rings of Audi. And a great shot of the Ice Watches car behind. Marco Wittmann. BMW, of course, running 8 cars this year rather than the 6 they ran last year. Mercedes running 6 rather than the 8 they ran last year. Car's going wide again, David.
No penalties for that yet, although Roberto Mehi is under investigation, as you predicted he would be, for the contact with Martin Tomczyk. So that story is not yet finished, as Matthias Ekstrom here blasts up towards the line ahead of Marco Wittmann. Audi versus BMW, again looking back from Ekstrom's car, but Wittmann, is he close enough to challenge? Not going into paddock, he's not, despite possibly using the DRS there. Gary Paffett, I suspect, expected in for his second stop now. He's got the lapped Tomczyk behind him, down in 20th place now after that really great first stint.
Now, Paffett dropping back into the clutches, David.
Indeed so, and that's why the team is ready to get him onto a new set of boots. Is it this lap? Paffett tightens his line and pits indeed.
Now, what's he going to go on to? Will he go back onto those? Can we see? Going on to another set of prize. Yes?
Looks like it to me. So 3.5 seconds that stop. He's got both of them out of the way. He can now run to the end on these tyres. Pascal Wehrlein is the man in the background. You saw pitting as well.
Now, I'm interested to see whether Paffett again comes out in some clean air. And I don't think he's going to, David. Here he comes.
Ahead of the leader, because he blocks Mortara going into paddock. That keeps him on the lead lap, crucially. Mortara tries to go around the outside of him up at Druids, but Gary Paffett needs to stay ahead. He doesn't want to go a lap down here.
Yeah, because Glock right behind Mortara is a lap down. Nice shot from that camera on the side of the Taurus. Colours that Jamie Green ran for years. Schumacher also ran that silver chrome-clad car. Shortest circuit, of course, on the DTM. Although Norris Ring brings it quite close.
Timo Glock getting very toey here to unlap himself, but Eduardo Mortara is in no mood for that to happen. Glock challenging. It's not a battle for position, this. It's a car trying to unlap itself. Yeah. Glock now on the better tyres have got the pace.
Andy Prio, incidentally, is now in 15th. Green is in 13th for the British fans. Well, drive-through penalty then, as we predicted for Roberto.
So that drops the Spaniard down the order.
Compromise his race, certainly.
Yeah. So we're on lap 48 out of 98, and Rockenfeller's gap to Farfus, which is about to be confirmed, is now 3.6 seconds. You're looking at Timo Glock trying to unlap himself, but Mike Rockenfeller is looking stronger and stronger here for a potential win.
Oh, look at Glock. He's looking pretty racy. Trying to unlap himself. And just unseen by us, Prio has just made another stop.
We're on board with Ekstrom going up towards Druids. And he now has got Wittmann looking as though he's gone through. He has. Wittmann has passed him on that lap. So there's Wittmann finally in the BMW up past Ekstrom. He was trailing him for many a lap. Wittmann's got the pace to then plus the DRS to go ahead of the Audi. And this is how it happened coming up towards paddock. Look, the DRS in use, and Wittmann finds the gap on the inside. And in his rookie season in the DTM, he really has stood out here this weekend. He goes through on the inside. So Wittmann gets ahead of a double champion at paddock.
There's a nice view from the rear. So we've got the couple at the front have not made pit stops yet. Others have made both of theirs. There's Ekstrom in. Where's he going to fire it out? Ekstrom is going to probably come out about 16th, 17th place.
Prio and Paffett at paddock. Gary on the outside there, but can't find a way through.
Two Brits together. Will he find a way down the inside? Yes, he does.
This is for position, don't forget, after Paffett's second stop, he goes through at Druids. And Prio being hung out to dry, losing another place. Right, Mortara has made his first pit stop. He's just Molina to go now. Paffett still hard at work.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Molina's staying out there, really, because he's doing almost down in the almost 45-second mark, where good lap round here is 43 and a bit. Maybe just likes being in the lead, getting a bit of... We've got Spanish TV commentator next to us, give him plenty to shout about.
He just pitted, in fact.
Oh, yeah, pitted now, OK.
And this is Gary Paffett in replay, making his move on Andy Prio. Good run out of paddock, and the door is left wide open, going up towards Druids. And Timo Glock goes through as well. Look, this is Paffett's onboard view. He's never going to resist that. Was a big, big opportunity on the inside. Thank you very much, says Gary Paffett. So Mike Rockenfeller is back into the lead of the race on the track, but he's nearly 4 seconds ahead of Farfus now. Spengler is third, Scheider fourth, Wittmann fifth, and Joey Hand rounds out the top 6 at present. The best two-stopper, of course, is Paffett. He's 13th overall, but he'll gain more ground on the next round of pit stops for those ahead of him.
So Rocky then back in the lead where he was from the start, and as the pit stops cycled through, we are not getting our normal package of graphics, David, because of this problem with Rockenfeller's electronic system, timing system, which doesn't seem to be affecting anything else, although it's not unknown in the past for that to happen. So we're not getting our usual packet of graphics.
Andy Prio is under investigation. He's been shown the blue flag, and he is now also under investigation. So Andy Prio's rather disappointing race might be getting a bit worse soon. One to keep an eye to.
What do you speculate that might be about?
Unless he was deemed to have got in the way and not getting out of the way of quicker cars soon enough. Blue flag and then under investigation. Stands to reason from that that he may have been deemed to have not allowed a quicker car to pass within a given amount of time, but we'll keep an eye to that. And he gets a pit stop penalty of 5 seconds for not respecting the blue flag, does Andy Prio, as you look at Dirk Werner being savaged by Jamie Green.
Yeah, getting a bit of a love tap by Jamie. Rockenfeller's lead, though, 4 seconds.
Into the pit lane comes Jamie Green, but as we say, Andy Prio is going to have to make a pit stop penalty of 5 seconds.
4.4 seconds for the app team.
Not great.
Not great.
Jamie Green rejoins the race. So, Rockenfeller, the race leader, by 0.6 of a second, we are told, on the last lap, and it was over 2 seconds. Is that legit? Is that the transponder problem again? Let's just see if we can get a glimpse of where Farfus is on track. No, he's a lot further back than 0.6 of a second. So it's a false situation on the timing screen that we have. Rockenfeller is in traffic, but the gap's not come down enough. If anything, Farfus now might just have to be mindful of what Spengler is up to behind him.
Werner is in the pit.
Indeed. From 11th. The real lead gap is 3 points.
There you are, that's a Schnitzer pit stop. 2.8 seconds. Charlie Lau and the boys are just absolutely ace at this. That can be worth 2 seconds. It could be 2 or 3 places. It's a super pit stop like that. See the timing screens telling us, David, that
Jamie Green round the outside. Dirk Werner rejoins after his pit stop, and Jamie's now alongside him, heading down
in the right place. Yep, good one. David Paffett's shown he's only making one pit stop, but he's made two, hasn't he? Mike Rockenfeller leads this race from Farfus, Spengler, Timo Scheider, Whitman, Hand, Wickens, Mortara and Molina, and Albuquerque. They've all just made one stop. Priot with his 5-second penalty. We'll drop him right to the back. There he is in the sin bin.
5-second stop-go feels a very long 5 seconds, doesn't it? Release from the pit stop box and then to the team. This is Rockenfeller, race leader. The gap has come down a bit last time, though, by half a second. Just monitor this and see whether Farfus now can mount a proper attack.
Got nice clear track in front of him at the moment, Rockenfeller, as he heads up into Druids again. There you see it on the screen now, the top 8 places.
Now, because of Rocky's transponder problem, what we can't do is monitor sectors between him and Farfus. It's only at the end of the lap that we get an idea of the relative pace of the Audi to the BMW. Spengler is still third behind Farfus. Then it's Scheider, Wittmann and Joey Hand having an impressive run for 6th. Wickens going strongly for 7th ahead of Mortara, Molina and Philippe Albuquerque is currently in 10th spot. Right, the gap 3.3 seconds, so it goes out again. Rockenfeller responding that time.
Yeah, Rocky is in that rhythm they talked about at the moment. Farfus. Well, second place won't be bad for him, David, or to put him well in the lead of this championship, having had the win at Hockenheim.
Roberto Mehi there just rejoining. He's had another drive-through. This time a stop-go, I should say. That was for ignoring the blue flag. So his race is going from bad to worse as well. Contact with Tomczyk and then ignoring the blue flag. This is Paffett. He's currently in 11th place.
In 11th place, but when these in front of him have made pit stops, it's going to be vaulting up there. Just trying to work out, David, where he will slot in as they drop back with their pit stops.
Top 6, I would suggest, is where Paffett should end up come the end of the race. Timo Glock tucked up behind him, don't forget, in the BMW.
Glock's clocking some pretty good laps at the moment. Hanging on to the back of Paffett.
But he has to make a second stop, so that's going to drop him away.
Yeah, he does. He's on the options.
Bit of dust being kicked up by Albuquerque there, but Glock looking the quicker of the two here.
Yeah, Glock is on the options.
And we're on lap 60 out of the 98, but Rockenfeller still looking oh so strong up front, isn't he? Look at this, Albuquerque attacking. This is in a straight line. He gets himself up past JUNCADELLA, puts a lap on him, and he needs to do that because he's ahead on track of Paffett, and this is a genuine battle. Now Albuquerque, Paffett and Glock all building up nicely. The Audi runs 10th, Mercedes 11th, BMW 12th, and Gary Paffett is closing with the help of the DRS, then going up towards Paddock Hill Bend, but he's not near enough to challenge going into the corner. Up towards Druids. Is there a gap? There is, but he's not near enough, and here comes Glock!
Look at Glock!
Couldn't do it. Bold effort, but he couldn't do it. Albuquerque gets out of the way.
But not out of the way of Glock.
Interesting that. He was shown the blue flag, but it's a battle for position, this. They're on the same lap. Interesting. So, Albuquerque lets Paffett go, now blocks Glock. Up towards the end of the lap. The gap is coming down a touch between the leaders, Andrew. It's gone from over 3 seconds down to 2.9.
2.9, yeah, but it's an impressive run nevertheless by Mike Rockenfeller. Man who made his name racing Porsches originally. Farfus second, Spengler third. And then Timo Scheider there in 4th place.
Glock ahead of Albuquerque, look, coming out of Druids. He made that move on the inside just as they went out of shot, and it's worked for him. So the BMW has gone through. Behind them is JUNCADELLA, who is a lap down, in fact 2 laps down, running in last place. On board with Christian Vitoris.
Where is Vitoris in 14th at the moment.
And he came into the race 3rd in the championship.
Yeah. Had a very good run at Hockenheim. Another recruit from the Formula 3 Championship and GP2 racing, of course, a couple of years ago.
And his target here is Matthias Ekström. Look, just up ahead of him. This is for 13th place.
Yep.
Eki double champion is able to fend him off for the moment, but it's not really been a stellar run, this, has it, by the Swede?
Spengler, the champion, still very handily there in 3rd place. Whitman, as you said, David, the best of the rookies.
Ekström struggled yesterday with a bit of damage in free practice. They still couldn't get the car quite right for qualifying, and he's never really looked to be able to recover from that.
What's interesting about Rocky, he sort of really seemed to be on it this weekend. He was out first for each of the sessions. Yeah. Just seemed to be pumped up this weekend. He's certainly paying off at the moment.
Farfus is still 2.9 seconds behind him, and Spengler and Scheider both making their 2nd stops now, Andrew. There's Spengler.
Interesting to see where he comes out relative to Paffin.
Well, 4.4 seconds is not great, is it?
No. No, that's not a good Schnitzer stop.
Albuquerque is in as well. Timo Scheider's stop feeling like a long one. And Farfus is in now as well. There he is. This is his 2nd pit stop. Augusto Farfus down the pit lane. This has got to be good. 2.9 seconds, remember, last time.
Stops on his mark. 3.3.
Touch slower, but it's still good nonetheless.
460 V8 horsepower. Blast him out of the pit lane.
Stayed ahead of Spengler, look, has Farfus, so that keeps him in 2nd place, effectively. Rockenfeller in for his 2nd stop. Leader in. And this has got to be
crucial.
Good.
Crucial stop for Mike Rockenfeller. Didn't get a time on it, but looked a pretty sparky stop to me.
And where are the BMWs? Not yet in sight.
Not in sight, not in sight.
There's Farfus out of Clark Curve in the background, and I think he was slowing, was he not, as he came into view? Let's just monitor that as they come up over the line. Rockenfeller goes through.
Now where's Farfus?
I thought I saw him slow. There he is. He has slowed.
He's slowed.
Spengler's gone past him. He's got a problem. I was right. Farfus has slowed right down.
Well spotted, David.
It's a mechanical drama. It has to be. And for whatever reason, Farfus is crawling round. He's trying to defend. Look.
Yeah.
He's got some pace in the car. The team is ready for him. He's going to have to come back in. I wonder what it is.
Gearbox clutch, maybe.
Augusto Farfus, just as we were saying, he was looking good for the championship. Is another one doomed for the pit lane. So, race order shuffles again, and Farfus does not pit.
Well, then maybe it's an intermittent. Oh, now it's stopped completely. Remember the gear shifter.
If he stops on the pit straight, that's going to be a safety car. And that would help Spengler, because it would draw him nearer, would it not, to Rockenfeller?
Absolutely.
Far be it for me to
now
be
it's
cynical.
moving again.
Oh, how convenient. Oh, no, it's not.
It's trying to, well, I would say there's some sort of electronic glitch in the gear change system. They're on a paddle shift these days. For years, DTM were one of the last championships to switch. See, every so often it moves, David.
It's going to have to be a safety car, this, isn't it? The race director, Sven Stopper, will be hoping the car can at least get onto the grass, but it just does not want to move. And even if it does, the problem is it will stop again somewhere, potentially.
There's a great burst of smoke out of it.
He's limping. Well, Augusto Farfus...
see the lights going off as well. He's
ignition's
he's pulling
out.
it off, but it's just intermittent.
But it can't stay there, can it, on the pit straight?
Absolutely
Speed building.
not.
And in the DRS zone, don't forget.
Yeah. No, they...
Marco Wittmann pits.
Wittmann comes in. So does the Playboy car.
Mortara Molina is in as well.
Whitman, good 3-second stop. Well, that team got it together.
Very well.
That was their best stop so far.
And look, they're going to get Farfus's car out of the way as best they can with a snatch vehicle. If there was a hope of a safety car, the race director has decided to foil them. But everybody has got to be careful under these yellow flags.
Everybody can see it.
Yeah. But they better not improve a sector time under that yellow.
Yeah, Team RBM watching on. And well, that's a good shot, isn't it?
BMW's nose to tail.
Yep.
So under the yellow flags, the race carries on. And well done by the race director for not having a knee-jerk safety car there.
Paffett up to 5th now, David.
Yes.
I don't think even he was hoping for that.
And he's not done yet. It's Tombe going all over the grass at Surtees.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shortcut.
Yes. In the Ironman 3 liveried car. Back on track. As he's Glock in the pit lane for his second stop. So Rockenfeller, Spengler, Paffett, now the top 3. Wittmann is 4th, Wickens is 5th, Hand is 6th, and that is a bit risky, but it's worked, just in front of the leader as well.
That was a bit risky, wasn't it?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. But that had a sharp intake of breath in race control. Anyway, problem sorted, car out of the way. And Farfus is, for now, definitely out of the race.
28 laps still remaining, though. As Rockenfeller continues to lead as he's done for most of the race.
Now, why can't he be this imperious in other DTM races? He, as you said, looked on it all weekend.
I know.
No one's threatened him at all in this race. He's only had one previous DTM win.
At Zandvoort, that's right.
Yeah. Spengler's doing his best. Reigning champion, don't forget. The former Mercedes driver went to BMW last year, gave them the championship in BMW's comeback season, which was a really popular result. And he's nearly 6 seconds behind Rocky.
Yeah. Paffett, though, in 3rd. Well, he said to Eve, didn't he, before the start, I don't expect to be on the podium. Well.
However, we're not there yet. There's always a sting in the tail of these races.
Yeah, look at Wickens.
Yeah.
A quiet but very productive race here, now in 4th place.
Wittmann is 5th, and he's in this gaggle of cars, only just ahead of Joey Hand, look. It was half a second between them. The BMWs caught up there behind Wickens. So you've got 4th, 5th and 6th all running together. This is poor old Andy Prio in 19th place after a nightmare race that's just gone from bad to worse to even worse, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, really a nightmare so far, the DTM. Other than his very first race at Hockenheim, just really hasn't hooked it up yet. No. Rockefeller, Spengler, Paffett, Wickens. Well, going into this, we didn't expect to have 3 different mates in the top 3.
Timo Scheider there, challenging, going up toward the paddock against Christian Vitoris. Scheider's second stop, remember, I said felt like a long one from the time I was looking at on the screen, and it was long because he dropped a long way down into 10th place. There's a frustrated Farfus walking back. So Vitoris versus Scheider now is on for 9th place.
Yeah.
So Augusto Farfus slams the door.
Yeah, you can see
off the hinges nearly.
How thin they are. A little bit of carbon fibre. Rocky's lead, 6.7 seconds.
It's going up as well. As I said earlier, an imperious driver. He's looking so strong. Right, there's Wittmann, who is still busy chasing after Wickens.
Yeah, for sure, Hand would like to have a go at Wittmann.
Gary Paffett in an astonishing 3rd place then. Rob Wickens on the option tyre, closing on Gary Paffett. Wickens for the podium is a real possibility now, Andrew.
Yeah, it will be his first podium in the DTM, David. The former champion of the Renault 3.5 World Series racing from 2 years ago. Touted by some as a Formula 1 driver. He had a couple of test contracts. Let's see the difference in these tyres then.
Certainly Wickens is looking the stronger at the moment, isn't he, as they head up towards Druids.
They're taking a lot of time out of Gary on that previous lap. He's right on his boot now. That's the difference between the 2 tyres.
Paffett 4th in the championship after 1 round. Wickens yet to score. Would it be sensible to keep Gary ahead for points? Yes. Wait and see what Mercedes elects to do here.
Of course, we've had the change in the team management, David.
But look, Wickens dropped back going into Clark Curve as though he's been reminded that he really shouldn't get past Paffett. We'll wait and see, but it would make more sense over the course of the championship to get Gary scoring more points, wouldn't it?
And he's the most senior driver, of course. But good showing by Rob Wickens.
Definitely.
This is nice to see.
And also by Wittmann, who is there in 5th place, only half a second back.
2 Canadians in the top 4. Gary with the new colours on his car. Wickens also with new colours. Long-time Mercedes supporters, though.
If Wickens is denied the chance of getting past Paffett, then he's going to have to go very defensive because Wittmann has got the pace, and the BMW look is inching up onto the tail of Robert Wickens' Mercedes. So as they come over the line now, the battle, I think, is not really for 3rd, it's for 4th. Wickens fending off Wittmann. Up towards paddock they go.
Yeah, this last 20 laps or so should be pretty exciting, David. This battle continues. There is Wittmann in that BMW with that unusual stripy livery on it. Very striking car. There's Paffett, his new sponsorship. They are virtually nose to tail there.
Can I just go off on a small tangent for a minute? Remember I mentioned that Farfus stopped on the circuit and how that could well be a safety car which would help fellow BMW driver Bruno Spengler. Well, he's under investigation for stopping on the track. The race director is having a little think about that. So
he wasn't going to stop then just because he wanted to.
Indeed.
No, I think that's ridiculous.
Well, he's under investigation, come what may. Wittmann, though, is under the rear wing of Wickens' Mercedes going up towards Druids. Is he going to make a move on the inside?
No.
Not there. But it's a matter of time. It will come, that move, I think. Wittmann is looking odds-on now for getting 4th place before the end. Rockenfeller, though, 6 seconds ahead of Spengler.
Just saw his team manager from Phoenix, Ernst Moser, on the pit stand. Moser enjoyed all that success with Tomczyk.
There's another reason, of course, why Rockenfeller is in a big hurry here to get to the end of this race. He's meant to be off to the Nürburgring in 24 hours, so he wants to get there sooner rather than later and get in the groove for what could turn out to be a really successful weekend for him.
There's Gerhard Unger, the boss of HWA. Get the feeling that Toto Wolff isn't as hands-on with the DTM as his predecessor Norbert Haug was. And I don't see Wolff up there on the stand. And usually there was a lot of conversation between Haug and Unger about the way the race was running and the tactics and the strategy.
Wickens is really under attack from Wittmann because he's being denied the chance to get past Paffett, and they're both being caught by hand.
Yeah, did you see he had a bit of a twitch on Wickens?
But by keeping Paffett ahead, they've compromised Wickens, and Wittmann wants to get past him.
Yeah.
Can't do it at paddock. Nose to tail, they turn their way through the corner. Now Wittmann has been close in the past up at Druids. Is there going to be an opportunity this time again? He thinks about it. Can't find a way by.
Look at hand as well.
Yeah, he's nearly there.
Again, I don't think it'll go down very well with Jens Marquardt if Joey Hand muscles his way past Wittmann.
Gary Paffett protected here.
Yeah, Paffett definitely being protected, getting a bit of a break here.
If Wittmann were to get past Wickens, of course, he would have the speed to catch up to Paffett. So it's in Mercedes' best interests for Wickens to keep Wittmann at bay for as long as possible. Each lap that he stacks the BMWs up behind him is a better bit of news for Gary Paffett because it protects that 3rd place he's earned at the moment. Were Wittmann to get past Wickens, I reckon he'd catch Paffett, and now Hand starts to nibble at the back of Wittmann's BMW as well. Down they come towards Graham Hill Bend, lap 81 of 98.
Has Hand now got a bit more speed in his car than Wittmann? There, just a flash of Paffett. His remarkable run. Despondent yesterday, the man who dominated this race a year ago. Former DTM champion, McLaren tester for many years.
Charlie Lamb looking on. Eduardo Mortara, incidentally, has been given a 5-second lap time penalty because he didn't slow sufficiently under a yellow flag. So he's got a lap time penalty, which he has to monitor and manage from inside the car.
Which is very difficult to do.
Yes, I agree.
Drivers don't like this new rule at all.
And there's Wickens, still manfully hanging on to 4th place, keeping Wittmann at bay. Rockenfeller continues to lead. He's now on to lap 83, and he's nearly 7 seconds ahead of Spengler. And this is Scheider attacking Vitoris for 9th place, and they are nose to tail with Miguel Molina tucked up with them. And Scheider, frustrated after his duff second stop, desperately trying to get another place out of this. He was 6th on the grid, but he's gone backwards, not forwards out of this race. Up towards the timing line now they come. He's not near enough, I don't think, to challenge at paddock. No, he's not.
And the cars that are going to be lapped again. Tambay is going to be caught, I think, David. He's in the firing line now. There's Taurus in 9th. Now what's this replay here? Of a good move by Timo Glock.
Ahead of Jamie Green for 14th place.
Jamie not having a happy race.
Not at
Just
all.
his 2nd race with Audi. 8 years with Mercedes-Benz. Interesting to see how he gets on when he gets to his favourite track of the Norris Ring, which he tends to dominate every year.
I was just thinking that, yes.
Rockefeller's lead 7 seconds, and then 12 more seconds back to Gary Paffett. So laps tick away here.
And then there's Rob Wickens protecting Paffett by keeping Wittmann at bay. And it's been a good defence, this, to be fair to the Canadian, having his best DTM showing. I think he's also proved he's got the speed to finish on the podium where that's permissible.
Yeah, and I'm sure Rocky will put this down as his best DTM race. He had a good win at Zandvoort. This one is even more convincing.
This is a replay of Matthias Ekstrom on the outside at Graham Hill Bend.
Oh, off he'll go.
Indeed. And he was trying to get past
and
Mortara, an Audi against an Audi there.
Yeah,
this is
and
the
he lost
replay.
the place instead.
Yeah. All over the curb, all over the grass. Neither of the Red Bull Audis have had a good weekend, have they? Although Ekstrom had got himself up into 7th place before the incident there that we've just seen. So the lap's ticking away now.
Yeah, we got to remember, David, the only Audis are really going well is Rockenfeller.
Oh, very nearly off the road into the gravel. Went on Gidea, trying to get out of the way, and he almost ran out of road. Yeah, Rockenfeller is the standout for Audi.
Yeah, the next Audi is Timo Scheider down in 10th place.
Yes. No, Ekstrom.
Sorry, Ekstrom was.
But he's then had that drama, yeah.
Yeah, but he's dropped down to 7th.
See where that puts him. No, he stays 7th, believe it or not. Comes over the timing line, still in 7th place. Here he is, you're on board with him now, so you got away with that.
And maybe we'll see that wing in operation again. System certainly appears to work very well.
But look what's going on behind him. Vitoris versus Scheider. That's the position, all right. Scheider can't find a way past the Mercedes as yet. That's 8th and 9th places. Miguel Molina is 10th behind them. And Ekstrom fending off the challenge of the silver Mercedes now, going up towards Clearways once again.
What about the Wittmann hand battle? How's that progressing?
That's 4/10 of a second, but Wickens to Wittmann is only 2/10 of a second. Could yet change before the end. Ekstrom comes up towards the line. 7th, having started 12th, not a bad result for him. And you see now, after everybody cycles through the 2 pit stops, how the race pattern starts to take shape. Up towards Druid he goes once again.
Just a little puff of tyre smoke we saw.
Vitoris, a taxi ride away from the apex.
Mortara is in.
So that's going to cost him potentially against Timo Scheider, Christian Vitoris. The drive-through penalty is served by Mortara. That was for the blue flag. And it drops him down to 17th place, so we can ignore him. He was never really a factor in the race, particularly anyway. Rockenfeller to Spengler is 8.3 seconds. What about Vitoris then? He's kept Scheider at bay despite missing the apex at Druids.
Rockenfeller increases the lead over Spengler. Paffett in 3rd place with his teammate dutifully behind in 4th. Don't expect Wickens to challenge at all there, but Rockenfeller out on his own up front. Timo Scheider right in the middle of this group of 5.
This is for 8th place. Vitoris losing touch with Ekström because he's having to defend from Scheider. Timo has spent many of the last 10 laps or so trying to find a way past that Mercedes, but he can't yet do it. Up towards clearways once again. He needs to be on the DRS once they've got over that safety car line, which Ekström crosses now. There's Scheider over the line, and down goes the wing. Is he near enough to the back of the Mercedes to make this work going into paddock? I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. We could go down to Eve, who's got Augusto Farfus with her. Let's find out what happened to the Brazilian.
Exactly. Unlucky race for Augusto. You were clearly on second position. Now you lost 18 points. What happened? It was a massive problem.
Yeah, we had a gearbox failure. I could not upshift or downshift during track after the pit stop. It's a shame because I was running a second. Second would have been possible. Would have been a brilliant position and good 18 points for the championship. Yeah, it's sad. I tried to stop the car on track, to restart the engine, to try to get into the gear, and that was just not possible anymore. It's a shame. I have also say we ran 10 races last year without any technical problem. This was the first time, but it's very disappointing, very sad to get technical problems when you're running second.
Thank you very much, Augusto. Back to you guys.
And while that was all going on, you saw it on your screen. Mortara had that big problem, and could have been much worse, David. It could have been T-boned.
Indeed so. That was coming through Surtees. He got it wrong out of Surtees, missed out McLaren. He's ended up at clearways, but he's far enough away from the track there because of the line he was on for that car not to be a problem. The yellow flag will be there, but it won't really need any more than just that, I wouldn't have thought. It's, as you can see, a long way off the track.
Where the Grand Prix track comes in, yes.
There's the leader, Mike Rockenfeller. After the DTM race of his life, he really has looked so strong in this. He was gifted pole position, I know, because of Tomczyk failing the weight check yesterday, but he has looked so strong in this race. Not a wheel wrong has he put. He comes over the line. We've got 8.5 minutes to go in terms of time. He is on lap 92 out of 98, and a second career DTM win beckons for the Le Mans 24-hour winner.
Yeah, won it in 2010. Had two big crashes at Le Mans, massive one. Remember, David, when he was taken off by that Ferrari of Rob Kaufman a couple of years ago, but finished third at Le Mans last year, but not competing the race this year.
Wittmann challenging Wickens as they dive into paddock, has to dab the brakes there going through the corner. Certainly the BMW is being held up by the Mercedes, but Wickens is doing a really good defensive job. Fair play to him.
Yeah, excellent job by the Canadian, and of course Hand right there as well. The three go through Graham Hill Bend. The laps tick away now, just 6 more to go. There's the Mortara car well out of the way. Rockenfeller's lead now almost 10 seconds. Paffett in a firm third from Wickens in this battle that's going on. You see, David, and Wittmann still trying to find a way around the Canadian.
Traffic to contend with that time as well. Felipe Albuquerque getting out of the way. That slightly impeded Wittmann's opportunity, I think. He's challenging again at Druids, but Rob Wickens does not crack under all of the pressure, does he? Wittmann trying to attack and defend at the same time. Joey Hand is right there behind him. This is Graham Hill Bend onto Cooper Straight. Curb being used, but only 2 wheels off, not 4. Look up now towards Surtees through the S's, as the DTM drivers refer to it. And then brake change down. Be careful with the balance of the car through clearways, back on power now through Clark Curve. And there, look, Wickens sprints away. He gaps Wittmann heading up towards the timing line. The leader is on lap 94 out of 98 now.
Remember, Wickens probably can't use his DRS there because I think there's 2 seconds between him and the person in front of him. So he may lose out a little bit through that situation. And look at this great gaggle with Timo Scheider having a bit of a charge in 9th place. Wehrlein, I haven't mentioned him too much, David, having a good race in 8th position.
And Scheider makes a bid against Vitoris, does he, coming out of Druids? They're going to be level as they head downhill, but Scheider on the outside can't do it there. Vitoris doing a good defensive job. Scheider tries to duck up the inside coming out of the corner, and that isn't on either. Wehrlein 10th, right with Scheider here.
So close round here, just whiskers between them. Timo Scheider, wonder if he can use DRS to help him down now into Paddock Bend.
Still don't think he's near enough, is he?
Just not long enough that straight, is it, to give you the real DRS effect.
Wehrlein potentially for his first points. The rookie, only his second ever DTM race, and he could be on for a point here for 10th place, assuming, that is, that he can keep Miguel Molina behind him, because you see the largely red Audi tucked up behind as they come onto Cooper Straight this time around. Lap 96 now, and the lead gap is coming down and down. Last time it was shown as being 3.8 seconds. Rockenfeller with a slow last lap.
We need to see it, David, in case that's... Remember, Rocky hasn't got the transponder working properly. No, they've altered it again.
They have, but it's still come down to 7.8. Yeah, but not to anything that's going to give Spengler a chance. But there are battles still to be resolved all the way up and down the order.
Well, what a great race by Mike Rockenfeller, but what a good battle behind. Plenty of action in this DTM race on this tight little circuit here. Jenson Button, I'm sure, will have enjoyed it. Paul di Resta we saw here yesterday, former DTM champion.
Mike Rockenfeller is about to start the last lap, because he comes towards the end now of lap 97. He's got all of this traffic ahead of him, but at the back of the shot, look, you'll see the yellow and green Audi. The RS5 starts the last lap of the race now for Mike Rockenfeller.
Can't miss that car, can you, in the yellow and green colours. But he's got 7.5 seconds still on Spengler. He doesn't have to do any desperate overtaking manoeuvres past the back markers for this.
Well, he's not put a wheel wrong. It's a second career DTM victory that he's half a lap away. I still wonder why he can't do this every time out, because this is a driver of the champion. Mike Rockenfeller on target for victory here at Brands Hatch.
There's Ernst Moser watching. He'll be rushing off to the Nürburgring as well as this man will. Well, he certainly rushed around Brands Hatch as he heads towards the checkered flag. And Mike Rockenfeller is the winner here from pole position. Albeit one he inherited. A beautiful drive from Mike Rockenfeller. And the rest, Bruno Spengler has come home in second place. And there Rocky goes wide to pick up debris on his tyres to bring his car back up to weight, as finally the third, fourth come through. Gary Paffett, what a superb drive by Gary. Wickens, his best result in the DTM. Whitman, as a rookie, scores fifth. Hand takes sixth place for BMW, and then Ekstrom, seventh for Taurus. Always in the thick of the action, was in eighth position.
Some very crude maths would suggest Rockenfeller to lead the championship by a point from Spengler, who's only a point ahead of Paffett. We'll await confirmation, but that would be what I work it out to be. Mike Rockenfeller then down the pit lane after a race win. Superb drive, Brother Joe.
Dr. Ulrich and Dieter Gas. Dieter Gas, some say maybe the successor to let's hear the Phoenix Racing team.
I'm here together with Ernst Moser. Congratulations on wire-to-wire victory for you. Sensational today.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So, yeah, and Hockenheim was not so good, and here we start really from the pole position and can finish the race on the first position, in the first position. So we are really happy, and now we have not the time to make a party because we have to go to Nürburgring. There's also a race. So we are happy.
Were you as well on pole position? So have a big celebration and later on go to the Nürburgring. All the best. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Ernst Moser. I was just saying that some say that Dieter Gas is a possible successor to Dr. Ulrich when he retires. The final bursts of V8 noise, Dave. That these cars you're not used to seeing, they really shake the ground, don't they? They are impressive.
Very much so, in terms of the look and the performance and the technology. There's a very happy Gary Paffett, who certainly could not have dreamt of third place on the evidence of yesterday, but a great drive that, and that may well be significant come season's end. He can look back on Brands Hatch as a result that was conjured out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, that trophy that Rocky's going to receive is going to sit well with the Le Mans one, and of course he won the Daytona 24 hours in the past as well. Likes to relax with his, he's got a motorboat. He likes to go off and chug around out of reachable mobile phones, etc. But his mobile phone certainly be going a lot this afternoon, I think, from all his mates. Very popular man in the paddock. Look, Spengler, happy man. And now, yeah, I understand we can go down to Toto Wolff to tell us about that super strategy from Gary Paffett.
After this desperate in qualifying today, Gary Paffett coming from 11, he was now on podium, and Robert Wickens also 4th position, so at the end it was quite a good result, and Pascal Wehrlein, the rookie, he took his first point.
Yeah, actually quite satisfying Sunday, you know, often you don't think so, and then Saturday was really terrible, we got it all wrong, and today we were a bit lucky in the race, but they did a fantastic job. Gerhard Unger and his team head off.
Perfect strategy. Congratulations today. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much. Very different sort of interview, the ones we used to have Norbert Howe, because he used to sprout out a load of statistics about how many wins they'd had and how many laps they'd led and all sorts of stuff. And that was a bit short and sweet.
Brevity is key. Very happy Bruno Spengler. He may have been nearly 8 seconds back, but he knows how to win championships, and he knows that the BMWs have been strong all weekend. But what is it about Rockenfeller's Audi that has been so much better than all the others?
Well, it's prepared by this Phoenix team separately from the app team. They do exchange a lot of information, but maybe they kept something up their sleeve. They just had something in the setup here for Brands Hatch that really worked for them.
Well, the other Phoenix car, Miguel Molina, 11th.
Yeah.
Wolfgang Ulrich very happy, as is Ernst Moser on the Pratt perch. And the mechanics equally pleased with life as well as they celebrate in the pit bunker.
I wonder if any of those are going back to work in the pits at the Nürburgring 24.
I sympathise if they are. We've got quite a few people still under investigation, but here's the result, Andrew.
Mike Rockenfeller wins it by a margin of 7.6 seconds over Bruno Spengler. Gary Paffett comes home 3rd for the British fans. Then it's Rob Wickens with his best ever result. Marco Wittmann, the rookie, gets 5th place. Joey Hans from California is 6th. Matthias Ekstrom finishes 7th, ahead of Christian Vittoris, Timo Scheider, Pascal Wehrlein, and 11th place, Miguel Molina from Dirk Werner, not the sensational race he had at Hockenheim. Timo Glock, Martin Tomczyk, Jamie Green only in 15th place, Merry in the war, 16th, Albuquerque, Tarnbate, Prio, Juncadella, Mortara, and of course Farfus, who was right there with a podium position for most of the way, as we heard a gearbox failure from him. This was how Rocky crossed the line, and this is how he came out of the car. I'm number 1. And of course, he has a very good chance of winning that Nürburgring 24 on Monday. I think the race starts at 4 o'clock, David, today.
Gary Paffett under investigation, to interrupt you, Andrew. Now, why he is under investigation, I know not. It may be for a yellow flag infringement, but the race director will look at the data from the timekeepers. So Gary Paffett 3rd, provisionally, let's put it like that.
Oh, that would be very disappointing. You know, these are professional. These are professional racing drivers. You know, Gary. You know, 2 weeks ago at Hockenheim, Martin Tomczyk brake tested Gary on the straight, and he got no penalty for that. It's Mortara contemplating his situation. As an ice cream van goes by, he probably feels he needs one.
I think that's the recovery truck, isn't it? To go
Oh, was it? I thought it was an
parked
ice cream van.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was.
It's wishful thinking on your part, that. It's a hot
Yeah,
day
I
at
thought I
Brands
saw
Hatch now. Yeah.
Mr. Whippy on the side of it.
Matron. Marriott's out again. Paffett then celebrating. So too Mike Rockenfeller, and deservedly so.
Well, I'm worried about that Paffett situation, David, and I think it would be most unfair.
We shall see. There are quite a few under investigation, but none as important to the race classification as Gary Paffett, that's for sure, in the top 3 provisionally.
I wonder when we'll have the result of those deliberations.
Well, the drivers are congregating at the bottom of the podium.
They usually crack on with these podiums pretty quickly.
But if it's going to affect 3rd place, well, we'll see in a moment. So Rockenfeller, Spengler, Wickens for 3rd, Wittmann for 4th, Paffett drops to 6th on the timing screen. It has just updated itself, Andrew.
Yep.
And so a time penalty for Gary Paffett. Rob Wickens gets the podium after all.
2 Canadians on the podium. Wow.
And Gary Paffett 6th. Who's going to break the news to him? Good luck with the interview with Gary Paffett, Eve. You're not going to have a happy Brit after all, I'm afraid to say. And that's going to delay the podium while the second of the Canadians, Bruno Spengler the first, Rob Wickens the second of them, is brought down to the podium area.
Just trying to see, David, any other people being shuffled around?
JUNCADELLA was one of them.
Yes.
I think Gary's had the news look because he's walking away from the podium and he's a bit po-faced, understandably.
Wow.
And there's Rob Wickens.
And he's running to get to the podium.
The ITR officials are with him saying, you're on the podium, so we need you this way, please. Rob's never been on the DTM podium, so this is all quite new for him.
No. Well, he's still sprinting along, isn't he?
Yeah.
After a tough, hard race here at Brands Hatch, an hour and 10 minutes.
And there's Gary Paffett walking towards him, and there might be an exchange of words.
No, there wasn't.
No. It's not Rob's fault he's on the podium. But anyway, Gary Paffett trudges away.
Oh, look at that face.
Says it all, doesn't it?
Face of thunder.
Oh, dear. And you can sympathise with him.
Well, he's going to want to look at the lap times, see what they reckon.
Let's try the results again then, Andrew. Off you go.
Well, we'll start again. A slight reset here. Rockenfeller wins it from Spengler with Rob Wickens third, and Whitman moves up to fourth. Hand is now shown in fifth place with Paffett sixth, Ekstrom seventh, Vitoris, Scheider, Verline and Molina down in 11th as he was. And behind the Dandelions, there, look at Wickens, look at that smile.
It's worn out now.
Yeah, I can hardly believe it.
Well, the podium is now ready to get underway, I think.
Yeah.
And the drivers will be up there in a moment. With Mike Rockenfeller on the top step.
That's a smile, isn't it?
Deservedly so. Oh. Delighted Spengler for second. And what about Rob Wickens' demeanour for third place? His first ever podium. How understated is that? Well done, Rob. And he shrugged. Why am I here? What's going on?
And Ernst Moser from Phoenix Racing. And now the national anthem of Germany. So, David, a race with a little sting in its tail there. And there's been quite a lot of officialdom this weekend, hasn't there, from the underweight Tomczyk car. And Steve Soper presents the award. Very successful DTM driver. Retired a while ago back now and has a BMW dealership in East Anglia.
The irony of a BMW jacketed person handing over trophies to Audi is not lost on that podium. There's Ernst Moser. The Audi team delighted with the result. Bruno Spengler gets his trophy for second. The way he's behaving, you'd think he'd have won the race, but I think Bruno is thinking championship, isn't he?
Yeah, championship defence indeed.
And Rob Wickens for third. Still looking a bit bemused by the whole experience.
He is completely bemused. He just didn't expect it.
What odds would you have had on Rob Wickens being the best placed Mercedes driver and on the podium as well come the end of the race? Very long ones, I think. Anyway, well done, Rob Wickens.
Yeah, second year in DTM, but then most of his teammates were in their first year. So
not
Wickens drove very well, didn't he? Didn't
Absolutely,
get involved so much in any of the skirmishes. Obviously ran a good strategy.
I mean, to be fair, we were talking about him looking to get past Paffett for third. He was a deserving third-place driver on pace anyway. For him, it's a bit of a shame the way this has all come about. But, yeah, I mean, he's a deserving third-place finisher, no question. So, the celebrations on the podium. The drivers will go to the press conference.
I wonder if that's going to delay Rocky's plane to the Nürburgring. He's sharing a car with 3 others, so he probably won't get to drive until probably 1 o'clock this morning.
Yes. I think he gets a bit of sleep.
Quite a bit of competition in that race from obviously Porsche, but also BMW with the Z4s.
And a completely different circuit from the Brands Indy circuit to the Nordschleife.
Yeah,
They could not be more different. There's a couple of hills, I know, at Brands, but that's about it. There's the similarity. Well, what a weird race.
Yeah, a weird race in a way. There's discussion between Gerhard Unger. Gary shrugs. Well, I don't think I went quicker. He said, let's have a look at the data. You can see the disappointment. He knows he did a good job.
Absolutely, yes. But how do you manage 5 seconds in the car? So difficult.
It's not a good rule, David.
No.
It's not a good rule. And there has to be other ways of doing this. It's new this year. The drivers don't like it. The ITR, who run this series, run it with a rod of iron.
Yeah.
And there isn't any driver power, really. You know, there's no driver group. Let's look at these championship points now, and look at that. Rockenfeller just 1 point ahead of Spengler. Farfus on the 25. Gary, he should have had so many more. And Vitoris and Werner, Joey Hand in 7th. Wickens, Whitman, Timo Scheider is in 10th place. And now we can hear from Rob Wickens. Great job by the Canadian.
Fantastic job. The second here Canadian on the podium with Bruno Spengler. So it was a big surprise for you. You had to make a big sprint from your team.
Yeah, you know, after you do 98 laps around the brand hatch, you're not expecting the run down the front straight to the podium. But no, I'm yeah, it's a bit strange really. I mean, obviously I didn't think I was on the podium. So after the race, I was happy with 4th, my career best, and then yeah, I was content. And I was walking back. Actually, just finished the interviews up there, and I was walking back, and they yelled, "You're on the podium! You're on the podium!" And then so I had to run down. So no, it's a good experience, but I think to be honest, it hasn't really sunken in. But you know, I'm not aiming to be 3rd. I'm aiming to be 1st. So we still have some work to do. But going from 13th to 3rd on the grid in Brands Hatch, I think is a big accomplishment. So I'm pretty happy.
And your team in Mercedes, they did a fantastic job with the strategy. You pitted really early, like Paffett.
Yeah, it's something that from my side, I started on the option tire from 13th, and everyone around me was on the standard. So I knew my goal for the start was to get ahead of the standard guys, and I was able to do that. So from my side, the race planned out well, and we pitted early to save the option for the end. We went back to it, and yeah, it seemed to work very well.
Fantastic job. Big celebration. Thanks. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much. He went back to the option, David. We didn't see that. And because of the problems they had with the timing and scoring, we didn't get the graphic that we were expecting to tell us that. But I think we did say he was on the option at the end, because we saw the light on. But
looking at replays here of some of Timo Glock's exploits, he did a lot of fighting in that race. He's also under investigation. But let's hear from Bruno Spengler. He is with Eve.
Bruno coming from 4th to 2nd position, good for the championship defense.
Oh yeah, I mean it's very good. I mean not only for the championship, it's just a great day for me. I'm really happy. Started from P4. You know, I had a good start, could pass 3rd, and then after I could overtake my teammate, which had a problem after the pit stop. And then I had a really good pace. My car was amazing in the race over the distance. Especially I struggled yesterday a little bit in qualifying, but over the distance it was amazing. So I'm really happy. Thank you to my team and to my engineer to give me that great car. And you know, it's great points. I'm really happy to bring these points home for the whole team and for myself. It's cool.
Cool. Good result for him. Back to you guys.
cool. That's what we thought it would be at Brands Hatch today, but actually it wasn't. It's really warmed up. Temperature about 17 degrees here. Some more replays from the race.
Gary Paffett's on board, you had a glimpse from there as he was chasing after Bruno Spengler. And let's hear from Mike Rockenfeller. The race winner is with Eve.
Exactly. How was life? You must feel incredible. Now you're the championship leader.
This I didn't know, really. That's pretty cool, I have to say. So, yeah, it was a great race. I think the start was the key, and then I could control it. The car was fantastic to drive around here, and thanks to my boys, they did an awesome job. I have to say I have some pain in my arms because somehow the seat is a bit tight on my shoulders, and yeah, I don't know, a nerve or something is hurting, so it feels a bit weird. So therefore, right now I'm a little bit under pain, but I enjoy really the moment.
But you struggle back because there's a 24 hours race waiting for you at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, that's why I'm not so happy about my pain right now. But, I have a few hours and I have 3 great teammates over there. And I did my job here, and now I need to focus on Nürburgring straight away. And I'm looking forward to drive on the Nordschleife.
All the best. Perhaps I give him a massage or something. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Eve.
We never got that opportunity. Right, well, Mike Rockenfeller then heads for the airport, and a very, very impressive race win for him.
Yeah, well, he's got to do the main press conference yet, so we'll hear from him some more. But yeah, it's so important to get these seats right.
Yeah.
Well, just the way the safety belt's on, and you can get that pain.
This was the battle between Ekstrom and Wittmann. They were going at it early on in the race. Wittmann has been very good this weekend. He ends up 4th, of course, with Gary Paffett's penalty. And Matthias Ekstrom, not a bad result for him in the end, 7th, but not as good as it could have been, potentially. And Ekstrom just doesn't look quite as quick as he used to be. This was the Paffett on Prio move. Andy Prio gave him lots of room, and Timo Glock went up the inside as well, going into Druids.
Yeah, think of all the things Ekstrom's done and won in the past. You know, remember he had that little run in NASCAR, Red Bull NASCAR, and did well on one of the road circuits. We remember him just being the absolute ace at the Race of Champions. I think he won it 3 times. And I agree with you, David. It just seems the edge has gone off Eki a little bit. He's been around so long and done this for over a decade.
Not last year, but the year before. He and Timo Scheider were winners of the Spa 24 Hours for Audi. And, of course, he's done the Nürburgring 24 in the past. So I just wonder whether a GT career is being lined up for him, because GT racing important for Audi with its customer program. This was Jamie Green versus Dirk Werner. Bit of contact going out of Druids, but Dirk Werner being able to hold on to that. So although Mike Rockenfeller dominated the race and was never headed, a lot went on up and down the order, that's for sure. And Jamie Green, after a poor qualifying, ends up 15th a lap down. Dirk Werner, 12th, the first of the lapped drivers.
Yeah, I'm sure Jamie, we were having a bit of a think about his situation with Audi. Obviously just hasn't got to grips with the way they work yet, or with the car. While they all use this same central chassis, and quite a lot of the parts are common, the way the suspension and the way the teams run is completely different. And well, not a good day for Andy Prio.
Trouble is, we seem to say that a lot in DTM. Andy not having a happy time at all, is he?
I mean, qualified okay.
Got tagged into that spin by Torbay, didn't he? Which was a silly move on the part of the Frenchman.
Well, when you come into the DTM and you're multiple World Touring Car Champion, a lot's expected of you.
Indeed, and Andy did say to me last year there's a real art to driving these cars, and it takes a bit of time to get used to it, although Farfus has mastered it pretty effectively.
Yep. Coming from exactly the same situation as Andy.
Yeah, although of course he did have experience in Formula 3000 cars before he came into touring cars. Maybe that helped him a little bit. Well, this was the situation with the car slowing as he came out of Clark Curve and then eventually stopping on the track.
And you spotted it, David, though it was just a speck on the screen.
You get an idea, don't you, of what a gap should be, and it didn't look right. That was a bit hairy in front of the leader.
He ought to be under investigation, I think.
They got away with it.
Maybe he is.
They got away with it more or less. Timo Glock ending up in 14th spot. Hard race for him. Martin Tomczyk coming home in 13th. It should have been a whole lot better for Tomczyk, shouldn't it? Because he was going so strongly in the first stint, then he had that big spin with help from Roberto Mehi. This was Ekstrom getting bundled out wide by Mortara.
See how that car rattled over there. They're so stiff, these DTM cars.
And this was Mortara's demise.
Yeah.
Curbs, grass, tyres,
and
wallop.
bump.
Different angle, same result. Tyre marks all over the road, zonk. Headbutts the tyre barrier. Mike Rockenfeller, though, just inch perfect all through the race. And the checkered flag to give him win number 2 in his DTM career. And, of course, now, as we've heard, he's the championship leader. It's going to be fascinating to see how the rest of the season shapes up for him and how much support he gets from his Audi teammates now, Andrew.
Yeah, and there, the Audi management. Some important papers dropped. And Spengler certainly was very happy with that second place, wasn't he?
As he said, he started fourth, finished second, but he knows that now about winning championships. He proved that last year, and he knows it's not just about race wins, it's getting points. And of course, with Augusto Farfus not scoring at all, that helps him again.
And there was the bubbly spraying. Rocky opening his mouth. I don't think that helped his arm too much either. And there's Rob Wickens, new experience for him.
And we said all the way through qualifying, Andrew, how competitive the DTM was. Well, there's the result. One of each on the podium. It is Audi from BMW from Mercedes.
Yeah, we look down on the racetrack and wait for the press conference to come. Richie Rijkaard will be there with the microphone in a minute or two. And the blue skies at Brands Hatch, we really didn't expect that. It was overcast yesterday and indeed on Friday. Of course, we have the truncated DTM weekend now where they don't run at all on the Friday, and then they just have the 90-minute practice session and then qualifying. It's all very tight indeed.